Thanks so much for joining this session today. We're really excited to have each and every one of you here. So I have Laura and Irene today who will be doing the presentation for us from Analyst Prep. So Analyst Prep is a global prep provider for CFA, and we're excited that we have partnered with them to offer our students across all three levels, level 1, 2, and 3, subsidized rates on some of the exam prep offerings that they have. Primarily, we have partnered with them for the mock exams, which is a great way for you all to kind of get some added practice. I'm sure Laura and Irene will add more on also some of the other offerings that they have for the students. You can find all this information. It's on our website as well. Yeah, that's about it actually. Laura and Irene, over to you. Thanks.
Thank you for the introduction, and I am so happy to be here. Thank you for making the time to make this a success. My name is Laura Michelle Kisia. I am currently in Nairobi, Kenya, and I am the account manager for Analyst Prep for B2B clients. I will be the one managing the account for CFA Society Sri Lanka. With me on the call is my colleague Irene Brotich. I will let her introduce herself.
Yeah, so hi, I'm so happy to have you guys here, and we are really looking forward for the collaboration with the CFA Sri Lanka. Well, I work as a lead customer service representative at Analyst Prep. So once students from CFA Sri Lanka will have purchased packages from us, or if you have any inquiries regarding our packages, the products we offer, any questions, maybe to connect you with the tutors, I will be the person you'll be connecting with together with Laura. So we are really thrilled about this. Let's make this a success.
Thank you, Irene.
Yep.
We'll dive right into the agenda of the day. So today we have two agendas. The first agenda is to introduce you to Analyst Prep and just give you a tour of what you're getting by signing up for study materials. And then the agenda of the day, which I'm sure most of you are excited for, is an introduction to basic calculator functions. I hope you all brought your BA2 plus calculators because you're going to be doing some slight, we're going to be solving problems towards the end of the meeting, and maybe, just maybe, we might ask our COO to reward the student that has participated the most. So hang in there and let's make this an interactive session. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Could any of you kindly confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. I will switch off my camera for now so that we focus on what is on my screen. Sorry? Okay. So we'll just focus on what's on my screen. Okay. So thanks, first of all, thanks to the partnership that we have between Analyst Prep and CFA Society Sri Lanka. The members of CFA Society Sri Lanka have been given discounted prices to access our study packages. So for instance, I just made a slide table here. For instance, okay, let's start with the packages. Normally, we have 3 packages that we offer our students. You either have a practice package, you have a learn plus practice package, and then we have an unlimited package. So thanks to the partnership between us and CFA Society Sri Lanka, we are going to also be giving CFA Society Sri Lanka students a mock exams package, which normally is absent for all of our other users, but for CFA Society students, they're going to be getting it at $29. So what will that entail? That will entail access to our mock exams, performance tracking tools, 180 questions for each exam, and this will be split into two sections, just the way the CFA exam is conducted. And then all these exams will be conducted in the same format as the CFA exam. We also, if you sign up for this, we'll also gauge your level 1 or whichever level you will be. This is just a snapshot for the level 1 package. But for whichever level, we are going to gauge your exam readiness by how you take the exams. And you're going to help you to identify your weaknesses so that you can improve on them before the exam day. The second package is the practice package. So normally for our regular students who sign up on their own, they always get this package as $399. And this package contains everything that is in the mock exam package, which is specifically made for CFA Society Sri Lanka, plus 4,000 practice questions. And we sell it to regular students at $399, but for CFA Society Sri Lanka, that will be going for $69. And then the Learn Plus Practice package, this we normally call it a complete package because it gives you access to all the study materials that we have on our website. So in addition to everything that is covered in the practice package, the Learn Plus Practice package also includes 6 hours of video lessons and 2,000 pages of study notes. And we always recommend this package to most students. On the regular, it goes for $499. But for CFA Society Sri Lanka students, it is heavily subsidized to $99. All these packages for whichever level of the CFA exam always have an expiry date of 1 year. So if you sign for any of the first 3 packages, I'll just highlight them, these ones. You're going to have access to them only for the first 1 year. Okay, thank you for muting.
Please keep your mics off if you're not using it for any question. Kindly note all students. Thank you. Sorry for that interruption.
Thank you. So we have a Learn Plus Practice. We normally call this the unlimited package, the one that I've just highlighted right now. We normally call this the unlimited package because it gives you unlimited access. Remember, I told you the first 3 packages will expire after 1 year. The 4th package will give you a lifetime access, and within that lifetime access, you're able to access curriculum updates whenever they're made by the CFA Institute, and you're able to access everything on our website for all CFA levels, so CFA level 1, 2, and 3. So you don't have to pay for the levels separately. You just pay once and forget about it and access all the materials for the rest of your life. So this normally goes for $799, but for CFA Society students, Sri Lanka CFA Society students, you're going to give this package to you at $159. And then we have the practice package for all levels, for all levels, which is unlimited, but now it gives you what you would get under this practice package, but now for all CFA levels, for level 1, 2, and 3, and it's unlimited, and you get everything that is covered under this practice package. The second column, where on my screen, the second column, what everything that is covered under the practice package for all CFA levels for a lifetime. We don't offer this package on our website, but we are offering it to you at $115. And then the last package is the package for mock exams. And this is mock exams for all levels, levels 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to give you access to everything that is highlighted on my screen on the last column, everything that is highlighted under mock exams. If you sign up for this one, it's going to give you everything highlighted here on the last column for all levels 1, 2, and 3. So the unlimited package, as I've said, covers all the levels, and it's you have access for a lifetime, and it's the package that we always recommend to people. This one. If anyone comes to us and asks for a recommendation, this is the package you recommend because it gives you a lifetime access to all CFA levels. Okay, so now let's get to the nitty-gritties, how we go to, how you register on our website. So this is how we shared a link with your council members. And this is the link that you're going to use to sign up. So you just click on the link and it's going to direct you to our partner page. So this is Analyst Prep in partnership with CFA Society Sri Lanka. And you're going, this is a partner mode. So if anyone was to sign in to Analyst Prep, anyone who is not from CFA Society Sri Lanka, they will not get the same landing as this. So let's just try analystprep.com. So this is the this is still the partner page. I just want normal sign up. So let's just Google search analystprep.com. So, okay, let me quit partner mode. Okay, this is the normal sign up for anyone who is signing up with us or as a regular student. This is how their web page will look like. But anyone who is signing up as a CFA Society Sri Lanka student, this is how their web page will look like because we are in a partnership. So notice that the prices I gave you, for instance, if someone wants to register for CFA Level 1 exam, someone signing up as a regular student, they're going to pay $499, $349. But now if you come to your partner page, anyone signing up on the partner page is going to get very subsidized prices, ranging from $29 to $159, thanks to the partnership we have. So I'm just going, this is an account that I have already signed up. So an account with us, this is the page that we get. This is how our page looks like. So you're going to navigate this page using the left side of your screen. The first icon on the left side of the screen is the dashboard. The dashboard gives you a summary of your performance as you continue to use our study materials. For instance, you can filter the dates. You can say we're in January 2026. You can say between 1st January 2026 and today is 14th January 2026, you're able to filter, and the system is going to give you analytics of how you're using our systems. So for instance, I have filtered, and you can see that the blue, this is a bar graph. The blue bar represents you. The dark blue, almost black bar represents an analyst prep user on average. So for this user, we can see that this user has not started reading, at least for this year, between the periods of 1st January to 14th January. This user has not used Analyst Prep's study materials for all these topics except for alternative investments. And the user, compared to an average Analyst Prep user, has exceeded the use of the study materials in regards to the topic alternative investments. If we were to change this graph and make it start from, let's say, January 2024 to date, we can see that the graphics have changed, and compared to the Analyst Prep average user, this user has used these materials, like for instance, for quantitative methods, this user has only used 50% of our materials, and the average Analyst Prep candidate has used close to 69% of the study materials for quantitative methods. So with this performance metrics, you're able to gauge your position in regards to the people who are using our website at any particular moment. You can also see towards the right of the screen, we have questions progress. This gives you the progress of, okay, so we have a question bank. I'm getting ahead of myself, but the questions progress gives you it gives you a picture of how many questions you've answered for each picture, for each topic. So for instance, for quantitative methods, this user has attempted less than 50% of the questions available under quantitative methods. For economics, you can see that this user has attempted 100% of the questions available under economics. So on the right side of the screen, it gives you your performance metrics as a user. But under performance, it gives you, under performance, I have highlighted performance, it gives you your performance metrics as a comparison of the other users within the Analyst Prep website. So all this is going to give you, it's going to give you a rough idea of where you stand with your performance. So if you're going to be able to know which topics you haven't covered, which topics you should revisit to redo the questions. And this is true for both questions, notes, and video lessons. So notice that initially we had questions progress here. If you scroll down, you come to notes progress. So you're also able to know, for instance, this user seems to have covered a lot of the notes. For instance, for quantitative methods, this user has covered almost 100% of the notes available, meaning that this user has gone through all the notes for quantitative methods. This user has gone through almost 90% of the notes available for economics. So that is their performance metrics, and this can be found under the dashboard. And you can alter the dates to give you an average picture of where you are within a specific period. The second icon is for study notes. This study notes will only be available for a user who has signed up for the Learn Plus Practice package. If you sign up for the practice package or then the mocks package, you're not going to be able to access all the study notes. You might access the first topic, and then these other topics will be locked. So a sneak peek into what you get when you click on study notes. So these are, if I go back, these are the 10 topics that are covered by the CFA Institute. So you just come here and choose whichever topic it is that you need to go through. So I'm going to choose equity. So if I choose equity, I can see that under equity, I have 8 readings. And I can choose whichever of this reading I want to read today. So for instance, I want to read the 4th reading, overview of equity securities. I just click on the icon with an eye. It will show me view list. I'll just click on it. And then I'm going to see all the learning modules under the reading overview of equity securities, and I can choose whichever reading I want. So for instance, I want to choose this reading. I just choose it and I read it. And in case I want, I have an option of marking this as read, so that when I'm going through my list of notes I haven't read, it's gonna be easy for me to know which notes I have read and which notes I haven't read. I have an option of creating a flashcard here at the bottom of the screen. I just click on this and then I create a flashcard. So for instance, there is something about equity risk characteristics. So there's something about preference shareholders, and that is something I want to be able to remember very easily. Instead of creating a manual flashcard, I can just go there to the second icon and I can create a flashcard. I can just write preference shareholders. And I can write whatever it is I want to know about them. Maybe they receive their dividends before common shareholders. Maybe that is something I want to be able to remember very, very easily. So I just come here. I'll just skip this. And then I'll click on the create button. And this will create a flashcard. So what happens is when I click on the dashboard menu, and then I scroll to the bottom of the page, and then I come here to my saved items / flashcards. I click on notes because I created a flashcard under notes. I'm going to see the flashcard that I created. So I'm going to see that this topic was compare the risk and return characteristics of different types of equity securities. And I'm going to see the notes that I made under that reading, such that if I'm in a hurry and I just want to remember something very easily, I just come to my dashboard and I look at the flashcards I created, and I'm able to look at it very easily. I can also be able to delete this flashcard, assuming that maybe I have finished internalizing whatever it is I wanted to internalize with the flashcard. Or I can click on view. If I click on view, it will take me back to the notes from where I created the flashcard. There's also the last icon. It's for reporting this question to Analyst Prep's team for review. So what happens is maybe you've seen that this question has a problem, or maybe you've not understood. These are notes. Maybe you've seen that there is something wrong with the notes, which rarely happens. Or maybe you haven't understood this question. We always have end of reading questions. So this is a question at the end of the reading. Maybe you've not understood this question and you would like proper explanation of the question. What you do is you click on this icon for reporting this question to Analyst Prep team for review. And one of our content team members will respond to you within 24 to 48 hours. So that's it for notes. You can change the notes. If you change the notes, it gets you back to the other notes within that reading. And you can also change the reading, and that will take you to the other readings so that you choose whichever reading you want to focus on next. Then below that, we have video lessons. I'm going to skip this for now and go to question bank first, because the question bank and the notes apply the same logic. So this is the question bank. You can either choose a revision mode or a practice mode, depending on what you want. A revision mode will let you access all the wrong answers and the right answers, and a practice mode will just let you access like you're just practicing, and this one you're revising, so it gives you better access I always recommend choosing the revision mode. You choose whichever topic you want. This time, let's choose fixed income. So these are the topics under fixed income. You want to revise questions from whichever topic under fixed income. We're going to choose randomly credit risk. You're choosing it by clicking on the first icon, the eye icon, view list, and then these are the questions that come up. So you can choose whichever question you want to practice. So I have randomly chosen this question. When you choose this question, you can, let's say you've already read and understood this question and you want to choose an answer. So it's going to get, that's a random answer. I'm not saying that that's the answer, but if you validate, it's going to give you an option of whether this is a correct or an incorrect answer choice. So if it's a correct answer choice, it highlights itself in green. If you choose an incorrect answer choice, it's going to highlight itself in red. And the best part about this is you get an explanation. You get an explanation of what? Of how you arrived at the correct answer choice, and you get an explanation of what the incorrect answer choice are. And then you get a reference of the notes from where you can go and refer and understand this concept better, especially if you've chosen the incorrect answer choice. And just like the notes section, you can also create a flashcard for this question. And if you create a flashcard here, so I'm just going to type random words and create. If I create a flashcard, when I go back to the dashboard, under questions, I can see that this is the flashcard that I have created. And if I view it, it will take me back to the question from where I created the flashcard. Okay, so I'm going to try and choose an incorrect answer choice randomly correct. So this is an incorrect answer choice. You can see that we've chosen an incorrect answer choice and it's highlighted in red. And then the correct answer choice is highlighted in green. And we have an explanation of why we arrived at answer choice C and not answer choice A. And remember that even our question bank mimics the nature of CFA exams because they always give you 3 answer choices. Okay, back to video lessons. Video lessons, they follow almost the same logic. So you go to the topic, you choose whichever reading you want. So this time, let's choose quantitative methods, rates and returns. You can, I'll just play. You can play the video lesson. I don't know if you can be able to hear, but that's you can play it, you can forward it, you can do with it whatever you want. You can choose the reading that you want from the right side of the screen. And in case you want to create a flashcard, in case you want to refer back to the notes, you can just click on Go to Notes and it will take you to the notes of this reading and you can also refer to it. In case you want to go to the question bank, you can also click on Go to the question bank and you can be able to answer the questions under this reading. In case you want to create a flashcard, you can click on this third icon and it will create a flashcard which you can view under the dashboard, just the same way you are able to view for notes and question bank. And in case you wish to report this video, maybe there's something wrong with it, or maybe you need to understand something more about it, you report it. And someone from Analyst Prep's content team will get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. In case you want to download the PDF, you can download the PDF. The PDF is basically the slide decks that were used in this presentation. So you just click on download PDF. You will get a notification in your email telling you that you can be able to download this PDF. And then now you download it from your email. We can go back to videos and then we can choose whichever video you want to view next. We've talked about the study notes, we've talked about the video, we've talked about the question bank. Please note that the study notes and the video lessons will only be available to you if you choose the Learn Plus Practice package. The question bank will be available to you if you choose the practice package and the Learn Plus Practice package. If you choose the mock exam package, you will not get access to the question bank. And then we have the quizzes. The quizzes is where we give the user autonomy to be able to choose the number of questions you want to practice. You can also be able to filter. For instance, you feel that you've understood ethics well, but you've not understood derivatives well. So you're at liberty of only choosing questions that are under the derivatives topic. And then you can choose the number of questions you want. If you want 10, if you want 90, you can choose here the number of questions you want. And then you can also be able to filter. Let's say you did a quiz earlier and you got wrong answers. You can also be able to filter only the wrong answers, only the questions that you got wrong answers, and then you practice them some more. In case you create a question and you do not finish, you will always find it here under the abandoned quizzes section. And you can always click on recover, continue finishing that quiz, or you can click on delete to do away with that quiz altogether and create a new quiz. This feature is available for the practice package, the Learn Plus Practice package, and the Unlimited package. And now we go to the CBT mock exams. You get 5 mock exams, and these mock exams have the first and the second session, so A and B for every mock exam, just the same way we get mock exams for the CFA exam. These questions have been curated in a way to reflect the difficulty of the CFA exams, and they've also been curated in a way to reflect the format of the actual CFA exam, such that if you attempt these mock exams, by the time you're going to sit for your exam, you actually have the feel of how those exams feel like. So you're not just meeting them for the first time, you've actually met them earlier while attempting our mock exams. So you can also choose to print these exams, questions and answer, and attempt them manually, or you can choose to attempt them on the screen by clicking on start, and then you just click on start again, and then you accept the terms, and then you start the test. Or if you want the tutorial, you start with the tutorial. And the good thing about our mock exams is that you have a timer there. But please note that because of the CFA exams runs for 135 minutes, meaning that you need at most 1.5 minutes to do every question. So in as much as we have a timer for 2.5 minutes, we recommend that you do this question before the timer gets to 1, because the recommended time is 1.5 minutes. So you click on the answers as you continue, and then once you click finish test, you will get you submit, you get your test results, and then you're able to compare that. You also have access to questions and answers, so you're able to compare your wrong answers to what should have been the answer, and you're able to understand the content more. The last option we have is tutoring. Tutoring option is a partnership, is brought to you courtesy of a partnership between Analyst Prep and my guru. And this is where you request for a one-on-one live session with one of our tutors, but you pay for this separately. So to access this, you come here, you click on more details. It will take you to another page. From this page, you will be able to book a 60-minute tutoring session. Each 60-minute tutoring session is priced at $119. Unfortunately, this is standard price, and We have not reduced it for any partner. So you can book more than one session by just following the same procedure. You just click on more details, it takes you to another page, and then you buy the tutoring session, and then you get communication from us, and time is set between you and the tutor, and you'll be able to ask the tutor whatever you would like to ask the tutor. This last icon for upgrade account is not available for our partners. This is only available for the regular users who sign up on our platform without the use of a partner. Any question up to there on how to navigate our platform? I'll stop sharing for a minute to take questions. Okay, I'm going to assume that silence means there's no question. So we will right away go to the nitty-gritties of the calculator functions. I hope everyone brought their calculator. I will share my screen again. Share. Okay. Before I go to the nitty-gritties of the calculator function, maybe to just remind everyone who is on call that right now the only window that is open for attempting the CFA exam is the August and the November window, with the August window having a very close, with the early registration deadline for the August window is fast approaching. It's just 7 days from today, and the late registration deadline is 6th of May 2026, whereas for the November exam, the early registration deadline is still 3 months away, 15th April 2026, and the late registration deadline is 11th August 2026. So we will right away go to the calculator functions. This is how the BA2 Plus calculator looks like. I hope everyone brought a calculator. So to power, today we are talking about the time value of money calculations. We might organize another session to talk about something else, but for today our focus is on the time value of money functions. So this is how the calculator looks like. To power this calculator on and off, you click on the first row, the last button, so the button on the far right that is written on / off. So that's how you power your calculator on, and that's also how you power your calculator off. The time value of money functions are the functions on the third row of the calculator. So we have n, we have we have I/y, we have PV, we have PMT, we have FV. So n is the number of periods in a particular question. Periods do not necessarily mean years. Periods can be years, periods can be months, periods can be days, depending on how the question is structured. I/y is the interest rate, and this is also dependent on the number of periods. For instance, if the period is 10 months, the interest rate should also be compounded monthly. If the period is 10 years, the interest rate should also be compounded yearly. So the n, which is the number of periods, and the interest rate should correspond. We cannot have an n of 10 months and we have an interest rate of 10 years. You will get an incorrect answer. So always make sure that n and the number of periods and the interest rate correspond. PV is the present value, which is the value of the cash right now. PMT is the payments. So if there's any monthly payments or annual payments, that goes under PMT. FV is the future value. The future value is usually the present value compounded at an interest rate for a number of periods to get the future value. So, I'm not sure if everyone understands what time value of money is. So I'll just give a quick intro of what time value of money is. Time value of money stems from the fact that a dollar today is worth more than in the future. So for instance, we are talking about the purchasing power of $1 or of 1 rupee in your instance today. You may have noticed that the amount of goods you may have gotten from the market using $10 1 year ago is way more than the amount of goods you can get right now from the market using the same amount of money. And this is majorly because of inflation. So it is always, the purchasing power will always be higher today compared to the purchasing power in the future. So to make up for it, whenever people invest money, they always need an interest rate as a measure of return to make up for the loss of purchasing power right now. So for instance, if I was able to buy, I'm going to pick a random thing like a calculator. If I was able to buy a calculator at $35 right now, there's a very high possibility that 2 or 3 years from now, I will need to buy the same calculator at $50. So the opportunity cost of me foregoing purchasing the calculator right now is now the interest rate that will enable my money to grow and enable me to either purchase the same or more quantity of what I would have purchased right now. Okay, and this is majorly because of inflation. So we can also define interest rate as the opportunity cost of holding or of using cash today, because it is what I am getting by foregoing the use of my cash today. So the CFA Institute recommends 2 calculators for attempting the CFA exams, and this is the BA2 Plus and the HP12C Platinum. The BA2 Plus is easier and faster to learn, so most students prefer the BA2 Plus, and it's the calculator that you're talking about. It's the calculator that you're talking about today. So, how to set up your calculator? When you get your calculator, the default number of decimal places is 2. But the recommended number for the CFA exam is 4. And this is because if you set your calculator to 4 decimal places, it provides enough balance as it gives enough precision, but you're still able to read the inputs easily, as opposed to if the decimal places would have been 8. So when you get your calculator, you can choose to change the number of decimal places. And you can, for the calculator on the screen, you realize that some of the functions have words written on top of them. For example, if you look at the third row for the time value of money functions, if we look at N has a function written on top of it. I/Y has a function written on top of it. Present value has a function written on top of it. PMT has a function written on top of it. So this means that the function on the calculator keys, so in this case, the functions on the white keys, so N, I/I can be called the primary functions. And then the functions written on top of the calculator keys can be called the secondary functions. So to access the secondary functions, you have to press second. Second is the first key on the second row towards the left side. So you press on second, and then you press on any of the primary function, and that will mean that you can now access the secondary function. So for instance, if I press on, I'm going to choose a random number. If I press on FV, so if I press second and then I press on FV, it means that I'm telling the calculator, for now, I don't need to use the function FV. I want to use the function on top of FV. And this function is called clear time value of money. And it's a function that you're going to be using for today's discussion. So to set up your calculator, you have to click on second, and then you click on the dot on the last row of the calculator. So if you click on that dot, on top of it, you can see the word format. So if you click on second and dot, you're telling the calculator that you don't want the dot function. What you want is the format function. So you click on second and the dot, and it gives you a format function. So if you have your calculator, we can do this together. We can click on second and dot. And then you click on enter. So if you want 4 decimal places, you click on second, you click on dot. That is you telling the calculator that you want to use the secondary function format. If your calculator is set to 4 decimal places, you're going to see on the screen that it's written DEC for decimal is equal to 4. So if you want 4, 5, 6, you just have to press the number that you want, and then you press enter. And that will mean that the calculator has formatted the number of decimal places. But since I have told you that the recommended number for CFA exams is 4, you're going to click on second, and then you click on that dot to format, and then you're going to click on the number 4 to tell the calculator that you want your number of decimal places to be 4 going forward, and then you're going to click on enter. That will have finished the process of setting up your calculator to 4 decimal places. So now you click on second, and then you click on quit. Quit is the secondary function on the first row, on the first key on the first row. So that key is written CPT, and on top of it is written quit. If you press second and then you click on that CPT, it tells the calculator that what you want is to quit. So your screen goes back to 0 point, the number of decimal places you have input. So for instance, mine is in 4 decimal places. Mine has gone to 0.0000. Whenever you want to do a time value of money calculation using the calculator, you have to clear the time value of money inputs that you may have input before. How do you do this? You do this by pressing on second, and then the last key on the third row, which is written future value. And on top of it, it's written clear. It's written CLRTVM, which stands for clear time value of money. So you click on second, and then you click on FV. This will tell the calculator that you are trying to clear any time value of money input that you may have input before. So you realize that this BA2 plus calculator has a memory. And this is a good thing and a bad thing altogether. It's a good thing because you can be able to recall any calculations or any inputs you've fed to the calculator. It's a bad thing because if you don't clear it, then whatever inputs you will feed later may, whatever has been stored may override whatever inputs you have fed into the calculator. And this may result into giving you wrong answers. For instance, if I do a question right now that has an interest rate of 5%, and then I fail to clear my time value of money questions, it means that the next time I do a question that has an interest rate of 7%, the calculator may choose 5% as opposed to 7% because it has a memory. So it may choose 5% and not 7%, and that will give me an incorrect answer. So whenever you're doing a time value of money problem, you always have to press second. First of all, you press second and then you press CPT to quit. CPT is the first key on the calculator. So once you quit, your screen will show 0.0000 if you've set your screen to 4 decimal places. And then now you press second FV. FV is the last key on the third row, which now will clear the time value of money, the previous time value of money inputs. Okay, I told you that for time value of money questions, you're going to be using the third row. The third row has 5 keys. The first key is N. I told you N stands for the number of periods. Periods can be in years, can be in months, can be in days. The second key, I/Y, stands for the interest rate. The N and I/Y should always correspond to each other, meaning that if N is in years, I/I, which is your interest rate, should also be in years. If N is in months, then your interest rate should also be in months. And then PV is the present value. Present value is the amount of cash today right now. And then PMT is the payments. The payments are the payments you make for every period. For instance, if you have a life insurance plan and you submit an amount to it at the end of every month, that is PMT. It's the payment you make at the end of every period. And then FV is the future value. It is the value you expect to get by investing your present value at a certain interest rate for a certain number of periods. Is there any question up to that point? Okay, so we'll just dive right into trying to solve functions or questions. So the first example, I have lifted these examples from our question bank and from our study notes. So it says, suppose you need to have $10,000 in your savings account at the end of the next 3 years. Assume that the account offers a return of 10% per year. How much would you need to invest today? So this question, first of all, you have to click on second compound to quit, and then you have to click on second clear time value of money problems, which is the FV function. And then now you have to enter. You remember that you're working, you're really struggling to complete this question in 1.5 minutes, so you don't have much time. So you really have to figure out which of these goes to N, which of these goes to present value. So in this case, it's telling you that you have $10,000 in your savings account. You need to have $10,000 in your savings account at the end of the next 3 years, meaning that $10,000 is the future value. So you quickly type $10,000, and then after you type it, you click on FV, which is the last icon on the third row. I'll just also put this for reference. So FV is the last icon on the third row, and that is your future value. And then the question says at the end of the next 3 years, meaning that N, the period, is in years and it's 3. So you click on 3 and then you click on N. The calculator has stored all these values for now. And then assume that the account offers a return of 10% per year. It means your interest rate is 10. You click on 10 and then you click on I/Y, which stands for interest rate. How much would you need to invest today? So the question is asking for present value. And then you now click on, so you've already input all these figures. Now you want to find the present value. So you click on compute present value. Compute is the first key on the calculator. Present value is the middle key on the third row of the calculator. So you click on compute present value. If there's anyone who's been doing it with me, you can see that the present value is 7,513.1480. This is, if you've been following with your calculator, that's the answer you should have gotten. And you realize that that present value is a negative value. It's a negative value because it's an outflow. You need to invest it now to get an inflow of 10,000 at the end of 3 years. This positive and minus signs will become especially useful when you're looking either for the interest rate or the number of periods or the payments. So if the question is asking you all these questions, whenever you input a present value, you need to ensure that that present value is a minus and not a plus. And that minus or plus is found at the bottom of the calculator. The very bottom of the calculator, the last key, it's a plus/a minus, and on top of it, it's written reset. So if you're computing a present value, you type the present value. So if it's 20,000, you type 20,000, and then you press that key that has plus or minus. It will change that positive 20,000 to a minus 20,000. And that is especially crucial when you're either computing the interest rate or the number of periods or the payments. Because if you feed the calculator positive values, you will not get the interest rate. So you have to ensure that at any particular time, the present value is always a minus. That was an example on present value. So we go to the second example on future value. It says, if you invest $100,000 currently in a project, paying an 8% interest rate compounded annually, the amount of the investment after 3 years is closest to. So you notice here that the interest rate is compounded annually, and the number of periods is also 3 years. So this is an easy question. You just input 100,000 with a minus. So first of all, you quit to get the 00 on your screen, and then you clear the time value of money problems or whatever the calculator has in its memory under time value of money. You clear it by clicking on second and FV. And then you input the 100,000 as a minus. So you input the 100,000 and then you click the plus/minus sign, and then you click on present value to tell the calculator that that is the present value. And then the interest is 8% and it's compounded annually. You click on 8 and then you click on I/Y to tell the calculator that that is the interest rate. And then the amount of the investment after 3 years. So 3 years is our N. You click on 3 and then you click on N to tell the calculator that that is the number of periods. And then now you want to compute for the future value in 3 years. So you click on compute, the first key of the calculator, and then you click on FV, which is the last key on the third row. And then you get the answer as answer choice C, which is 125,971.20. If you've been doing it, I hope that is what you've gotten. The third example, we only have 2 more examples to go, so hang in there. The third example is an example of present value, but with a slight twist. It wants you to compare a lump sum versus an annuity. So you have a choice to take your retirement benefit either as a lump sum or as an annuity. You can take a lump sum of $4.5 million or an annuity with 15 payments of $400,000 a year, with the first payment starting at T is equal to 1. This tells you that this is an ordinary annuity, meaning that it is paid at the end of the period. The next time we meet, we shall talk about an annuity in advance, which is payments made at the beginning of the period, which will need you to reset your calculator to reflect that it's a payment made at the beginning of the period. The interest rate is 7% per year, compounded annually. Which option is preferable? On the basis that it has the greater present value. So this one needs you to compare between A, a lump sum payment of $4.5 million, and B, an ordinary annuity with 15 payments. So N is 15, and these payments are $400,000 a year. So these are payments. This will be fed into the calculator as PMT. PMT is the second last key on the third row of the calculator. And then the interest rate is 7% and it's compounded annually. This is the time where you look at the N to see if it's also annual because the interest rate is compounded annually. So you come here, you check, you see it's saying that you can take a lump sum of $4.5 million or an annuity with 15 payments of $400,000 a year, meaning that the payments are also made yearly. So N and interest rate are corresponding. So you go ahead and clear the time value of money questions, and then you start feeding the new time value of money values from these questions, from this question, which is 15 as N, and then 400,000 as payments. Payments is the second last key on the third row, and then 7% as the interest rate. The interest rate is the second key on the third row. And then what you're computing is the future value. So you click on compute, which is the first key of the calculator, and then future value, which is the last key on the third row. You get that the future value is 10,051,608. Sorry, I'll just redo this. So 15 payments is 15 is N, $400,000 a year. That $400,000 has to be a minus because it's an outflow. It's a payment. And then the interest rate is 7% compounded annually. So 7 is the interest rate. Okay, so So, okay, this question is not asking for the future value, it's asking for the present value, considering that you're taking the lump sum right now. So you're weighing between taking the lump sum right now, or you're weighing either, you can either take the lump sum right now or you can choose the annuity. So if you take the lump sum right now, you get $4.5 million. Now you want to figure out what the present value of the annuity payments will be right now. So this question is asking for the present value, not the future value. And the present value is 3,643,165.6. So if you compare this amount with the amount of the lump sum, then you come to the realization that you'd be better off taking the lump sum because it has the greater present value. Okay, the next example is on payments. So you have Mr. Smith is planning to borrow $150,000 from ABC Bank with a 20-year fixed rate mortgage with monthly payments, and the first payment is due in exactly 1 month. If a payment is due in 1 month, it means that this is an ordinary annuity. If the payment was due right now, it would have been an annuity in advance, and we would have needed to alter the calculator. But most CFA style questions always test on ordinary annuities, although for the next session, we are also going to look into how we would solve a question that is testing on an annuity in advance. Mr. Smith's monthly payment, if the interest rate is 7% compounded monthly, is closest to. So this is where it starts to get interesting. We can see that the interest rate is 7% compounded monthly. So first of all, you have to take 7, you divide by 12 to get what the monthly interest is, because even the number of periods is 20-year fixed rate mortgage with monthly payments. So you're going to take 7 divided by 12 to get what the interest rate is monthly. The number is 0.5833. You record that as I/Y, which is the second key on the third row. And then he's planning to borrow $150,000. So he's borrowing that money right now. So that is our present value. You type $150,000 and then you type the plus/minus key because this is an outflow. So you record it as a minus and then you click on present value for the calculator to store that value. Okay, it's a 20-year fixed mortgage, but with monthly payments. So you have to find out the number of months in 20 years. So you just type 20 times 12 on the calculator. You get to 40. And this you record as N. And the first, so there's no future value in this question. You don't have to input anything under future value. You just click on compute, the first key, and then payment. Payment is the second last key on the third row of the calculator. If you've been doing it with me, you're supposed to have gotten 1,162.948, which is closest to answer choice A. And the question was asking for closest to, so you choose the first answer choice. Assuming you would have done 7% without dividing it by 12, you would have failed this question because you'd have gotten a completely different answer. So you always have to ensure that N, the number of periods, corresponds to the interest rate. If N is monthly, the interest rate has to be monthly. If N is yearly, the interest rate has to be yearly. And then the last question, just a minute, and I plug my charger. The last question is testing on interest rates. And remember that I had told you earlier, when you're computing for interest rate, you always have to ensure that present value is a negative value, because if it's not a negative value, then the computer will not be able to compute an interest rate because it cannot work with two positive values. So we clear our work, time value of money question. We read the question. ABC Company Limited has been in operation since 1966. In 2012, the company recorded revenue of $15.8 million compared to $11.4 million in 2006. The revenue growth rate for the company for the 6 years is closest to. So, 2012, we are comparing the revenue of 2012 to 2006. So the revenue in 2006 becomes our present value. And then the revenue in 2012 becomes our future value. So after we clear the time value of money, we input 11.4 million. And then we click on the plus/minus key. And then we click on present value. And then we input 15.8, which is the future value. And then we click on future value. And then we put 6 and click on N, which is the number of periods. And what we are computing is interest rate. So we click on compute, the first key on the calculator, and then interest rate, which is the second key on the third row. If you've been doing it with me, you get an interest rate of 5.59%, just as is shown on the screenshot in the Word document. I had told you earlier that the calculator is able to recall the time value of money functions. So for instance, if I was to click on second and quit so that I get 00 on my screen, and then I click on recall, I'm going to show you where the recall function is. So if you look at the calculator, towards the far left, the bottom, the second key from the bottom on the left side, it's written RCL. RCL means recall. So if I was to click on recall and then I click on payments, it's giving me a 0 because the most recent question did not have any payments. And then if I was to click on recall and I click on future value, if I have not cleared my time value of money functions, I am supposed to get 15.8. The calculator will show on the screen 15.8. And if I click on recall and I click on N, and I have not deleted any, I have not cleared time value of money functions, my calculator should show me 6. And that's the reason why for every question you attempt under future value, under time value of money, you're supposed to clear your time value of money by clicking on second and then on FV, which is the last key on the third row. Any question? Okay. There is no question from anyone at this moment. In case any of you has a question on anything, I will put here my email address because I am your account manager. You can reach out to me in case you want to sign up and you need guidance, or for any whatever reason you would like to reach out to me. I have input in the chat my email address and you can reach out to me. Nabiha, I will hand over the meeting back to you.
Yeah, I guess Nabiha has stepped out for a moment. Thanks, Laura. I appreciate the you taking time to do this, and thank you for your time. Also, just to tell all our candidates that once you purchase your candidate council membership, all the information is on our website as well, and as Irene said, you can contact them directly as well on any offers or questions or any partnerships that you would or assistance you require in prepping for the exam. I think that's it. If there's anything, Irene, you want to share anything about it before we close off?
I think Erin had a meeting at 6, so I think she stepped out also.
Right. Okay. Laura, I would just like to thank you so much for the event today. Thanks a lot for briefing our students. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us and for making the time for this event.
Also, Laura, just to keep in mind that the recording will be shared. So although there may not be that many participants at the moment, it will be shared by all the registered participants. So just to keep you posted on that.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So have a good day then.
Thank you all. Good night. Take care.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Thank you.